be on his radar. So God knows who is, you know, accused everyone else of doing everything horrible. Whatever it is, everyone has a right to say, you know, we live in thankfully a free country.
And you don't sort of hold your breath and think, oh, please don't get in the way of my mum's.
A single text message illuminated the darkness of Tom Parker Bowles' bedroom in the early hours of that fateful morning. The words on the screen reflected a decision made after decades of silence, a burden finally becoming too heavy to bear. He switched off his phone, placed it face down on the nightstand, and began preparing for the day that would change the monarchy forever. St. James Palace gleamed under the afternoon sun, its historic walls standing witness to centuries of royal triumphs and scandals. Inside, beneath ornate chandeliers and before a sea of diplomatic faces, Queen Camilla approached the podium with practiced grace. Her annual Commonwealth address was being broadcast live to millions across the globe. Palace aides exchanged satisfied nods as she delivered each carefully crafted line with the poise they'd spent months rehearsing. What no one noticed was Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's 50-year-old son, shifting uncomfortably at the edge of the room. His fingers traced the outline of a worn photograph in his pocket, a faded image of his mother from before the crown, before everything changed. A palace aide glanced his way, noticing the unusual tension in his normally composed demeanor. But Tom's attention remained fixed on his mother. On stage, Camilla continued with practiced charm, her voice steady and authoritative. She faltered almost imperceptibly as she spotted Tom moving toward the stage. Her lifetime of royal training kicked in as she smoothly continued her address, but those closest to her noticed her knuckles whitening around the speech papers. Laura Lopes, Tom's sister, reached for her brother's arm as he passed her seat. The silent exchange between siblings spoke volumes. Her pleading eyes, his resolute expression. Security personnel exchanged confused glances. Protocol dictated immediate intervention for anyone approaching the monarch during an official address. But this was the Queen's son. Their hesitation created the critical window Tom needed. 3 steps from the podium, Camilla locked eyes with her son. In that fleeting moment, the royal mask slipped. Mother and son, not queen and subject, shared a look of recognition, of understanding what was about to unfold. For a split second, Camilla's face softened, revealing a glimpse of regret, perhaps even fear. Then Tom reached for the microphone. The room fell into stunned silence as he firmly pulled it toward himself. Cameras that had been panning across the dignitary-filled room suddenly zoomed in, capturing the unprecedented moment in excruciating detail. Tom's voice, surprisingly steady, filled the hall as he introduced himself and began speaking about the woman behind the crown. Camilla's composure fractured. Her hand trembled as she reached toward her son, uncertainty playing across her features. Was she trying to reclaim the microphone or touch his arm in silent pleading? The ambiguity of that gesture would be analyzed by body language experts for months to come. King Charles half rose from his seat, torn between monarchical protocol and human reaction. Prince William, seated nearby, leaned forward with an unreadable expression. The royal machine, so carefully calibrated for centuries, had no contingency for this family rupture happening on live television. Tom's words flowed with the force of long-suppressed truth, describing how he'd watched his mother transform from the woman who raised him with warmth and honesty into someone he barely recognized, someone willing to sacrifice anything, anyone, for the power she now held. Behind them, palace officials frantically signaled to the broadcast team. The BBC producer's hand hovered over the broadcast delay button but didn't press it. This was historic, unprecedented, the kind of raw moment that defined epochs. Camilla's face had gone pale. The practiced royal smile vanished completely. She looked suddenly older, vulnerable. Her eyes darted to Charles, to her daughter Laura, to the exit doors, assessing escape routes like a cornered animal. Tom's voice softened briefly when addressing his mother directly, acknowledging how he had kept her secrets when the press hounded them, defended her when the world called her the most hated woman in Britain, stood by her through the Diana years. A palace guard finally moved toward the stage, but King Charles subtly raised his hand, stopping the intervention. Whatever was happening, he seemed to recognize it had momentum that couldn't be halted without making everything worse. Tom pulled a folded document from his pocket, referencing evidence of Camilla's involvement in the press campaign against her own family members and the lengths she went to secure her position. Cameras captured the exact moment Camilla recognized the paper. Her composed features collapsed into naked horror. She swayed slightly, gripping the podium for support. Tom continued speaking about family, questioning whose family Camilla had truly been protecting through her actions. In the third row, Laura covered her face with her hands. Her shoulders shook silently. The personal cost of this public moment was etched in her posture. Camilla finally found her voice, whispering directly to her son rather than into the microphone. The intimacy of that single word cut through the grandeur of the room. Tom's face hardened in response to her unheard plea. As Tom turned back to the audience and began to detail the contents of the document, security finally moved in, surrounding both Camilla and Tom. The broadcast cut to the BBC studio, where shell-shocked presenters struggled to make sense of what viewers had just witnessed. But it was too late. Clips were already spreading across social media at lightning speed. Royal Meltdown and Camilla Exposed became global trending topics within minutes. The emergency meeting in the palace's Privy Council chamber that evening crackled with tension. King Charles sat at the head of the table, his face drawn with exhaustion. Royal advisors and crisis managers filled the seats, their hushed conversations creating a nervous symphony. Reports indicated social media was in complete meltdown, with every news outlet globally leading with the story. Speculation about the contents of the document Tom referenced ran wild. The Queen had been moved to Windsor Castle with doubled security. Tom remained at his London residence, refusing requests to come in for discussions. The Prime Minister, summoned immediately to the palace, raised the constitutional implications. If the allegations implied by the Queen's son proved to have merit, the monarchy itself hung in the balance. Meanwhile, at the Guardian newspaper, editor Emma Daly stared at her computer screen in disbelief. Her encrypted email had just pinged with an attachment. The full document Tom had referenced, sent from an anonymous address with a simple message about the public deserving the complete truth. Her hands shook as she scrolled through the pages. If verified, this would be more than a family squabble. It would be the biggest royal scandal since the abdication crisis of 1936. Tom sat alone in his kitchen, phone turned off, blinds drawn against the gathering press outside. On the table lay childhood photographs, his mother smiling genuinely, before the cameras and protocol had trained her to smile differently. Before ambition had changed everything. A knock on his back door brought his sister Laura, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. Their tense exchange revealed the magnitude of what Tom had started. Reports suggested it could bring down the monarchy, that Charles might have to abdicate if the truth about Camilla's actions became widely known. The siblings debated whether the woman at the podium that day was still the mother they remembered, or someone else entirely. At Windsor Castle, Camilla stood at the window of her private suite, watching rain streak down the ancient glass. After dismissing her anxious lady-in-waiting, she moved to her writing desk and unlocked the bottom drawer with a small key she wore around her neck. From it, she withdrew a weathered journal, entries dating back decades to the earliest days of her relationship with Charles. Her fingers trembled as she turned the pages, scanning her own handwritten confessions from another lifetime. She'd done what was necessary, always, for the crown, for Charles, for herself. The choices had seemed justifiable in the moment, each small compromise, each strategic maneuver. But collected here, written in her own hand, they formed a damning portrait. The sound of helicopter blades cutting through the rain announced Charles's arrival. Camilla closed the journal and returned it to the drawer. She straightened her posture, adjusted her expression. The mask slid back into place with practiced ease. But in the mirror across the room, she caught a glimpse of herself, of the woman her son no longer recognized. For just a moment, neither did she. Within 48 hours, the global impact of Tom's actions became unmistakable. Parliament called an emergency session. Constitutional scholars appeared on endless news programs, debating the monarchy's future. Commonwealth nations issued carefully worded statements, expressing concern and continued monitoring of the situation. The document, now published in redacted form by major newspapers, contained evidence of Camilla's systematic campaign to secure her position. It detailed private investigators hired to gather leverage against rivals, carefully planted stories undermining those who opposed her, and financial arrangements with key media figures to shape public narratives. What made it especially damaging was that it wasn't just about the past. The most recent entries dated to just months earlier, long after she had been crowned queen, when such machinations should have been far behind her. Royal approval ratings, which had been gradually improving since Elizabeth II's death, plummeted overnight. Protesters gathered outside Buckingham Palace with signs demanding transparency and truth before crown loyalty. The crisis exposed deep fractures in public perception of the monarchy. Those who had long harbored suspicions about Camilla's influence found validation in Tom's revelations. Supporters of the late Princess Diana emerged with renewed vigor, seeing in this scandal confirmation of what they had always believed about the woman who had replaced their beloved princess. Younger Britons, already questioning the relevance of the monarchy in modern society, saw in this family drama further evidence that the institution was more soap opera than sacred tradition. Media scrutiny intensified as journalists uncovered additional details about Camilla's path to power. Former palace staff came forward with stories of strategic maneuvering and calculated image management. Several claimed to have witnessed Camilla's transformation from Charles's mistress to his wife to his queen consort, noting how her public persona evolved while her private ambitions remained constant. The royal family's initial response strategy, dignified silence, quickly proved inadequate. By the third day, palace sources began leaking carefully crafted narratives suggesting Tom's actions stemmed from long-standing personal grievances rather than genuine concern for truth or transparency. These attempts at controlling the narrative backfired spectacularly when Tom released additional correspondence showing his repeated attempts to address these issues privately over the years. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle maintained a conspicuous silence from their American home, though royal watchers noted Harry had previously made oblique references to Camilla's media connections in his memoir. Their absence from the fray spoke volumes, especially when contrasted with Prince William's active involvement in crisis management at the palace. On the fifth day, a startling revelation emerged. Camilla had maintained a private email account through which she had communicated with media executives and public relations specialists as recently as the previous month. These communications, excerpted anonymously through social media, showed her actively shaping coverage of other royal family members, including strategic undermining of anyone perceived as a threat to her position. Public opinion polarized further. Royalists defended Camilla as a woman who had navigated the treacherous waters of public life with the tools available to her. Critics saw in her actions the corruption of an institution that claimed moral authority while functioning like any other power structure, through manipulation, strategic alliances, and the occasional sacrifice of truth. 1 week after the broadcast, Tom received an unexpected visitor. A royal car pulled up to his house, drawing excited murmurs from the journalists still camped outside. Prince William walked up the path alone, without visible security. The future king entered the home of the man who might have destroyed the institution he would one day inherit. Their meeting lasted over 2 hours. No details emerged immediately, but palace sources later indicated William had come not as an emissary of the current king and queen, but as the future of the monarchy, seeking to understand the full scope of the situation he would eventually inherit. That evening, William was spotted entering Kensington Palace with a copy of the document in his hand, his expression grave. Political analysts noted that this separate action by the heir apparent suggested a possible fracturing of the royal response, perhaps even the beginning of a transition of power that would bypass Camilla entirely. As the crisis entered its second week, parliamentary discussions intensified. The role of the monarchy in contemporary British society became the subject of earnest debate, with several MPs suggesting the time had come for a modern constitutional convention to reconsider the crown's role, powers, and limitations. Then came the stunning palace announcement. Queen Camilla would address the nation alone, without prepared remarks or advisors present. The unprecedented broadcast would air live, with no delay or editing. The night of the broadcast, the world watched as Camilla appeared on screen. Gone was the formal attire, the carefully styled hair, the practiced royal demeanor. She sat simply dressed, without her crown or royal insignia. Her address was remarkable for its candor. She spoke not as a queen, but as a mother who had hurt her children, as a woman who had made choices. Some she stood by, others she deeply regretted. She acknowledged the document contained truths she had avoided confronting publicly. While some allegations had been exaggerated in reporting, she admitted the core remained accurate. She had done what she believed necessary to protect her position, her future, and her ambition. Across Britain, families fell silent before their screens. In pubs, conversations hushed. This was history unfolding in real time. Camilla acknowledged she could not undo these actions, only recognized their impact on her children, on the monarchy, and on public trust in the crown. Her gaze into the camera became more direct, the polish falling away completely as she addressed her children. She acknowledged their childhoods had been sacrificed for her choices, recognizing too late the weight they had carried. In his London home, Tom watched with his sister beside him, their hands clasped tightly together as their mother spoke to them through the screen. Through the millions of viewers witnessing this extraordinary moment, Camilla concluded by admitting she had failed the standard to which she should be held. She announced upcoming meetings with the King and Prime Minister to discuss the appropriate path forward. The unspoken implication hung heavy. Abdication, a stepping back, some form of royal penance. Her final words echoed the protesters' chants, "Truth before crown. It should always have been thus." The broadcast ended, leaving Britain and the world to grapple with a monarchy forever changed by one son's courage, one mother's confession, and the power of long-buried truths finally brought to light. The royal family, that seemingly impenetrable institution, had been revealed as fundamentally human, with all the flaws and fractures that humanity entails. Whether the monarchy could survive such humanization remained an open question, one that would shape British identity for generations to come.
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
After decades of whispers, scandals, and royal drama, Queen Camilla has finally let her guard down in a tearful confession that has left everyone stunned. For years, the public speculated about her role in the infamous love triangle with Charles and Diana, and now, at 75, she acknowledges the truth behind the palace doors. What did she reveal? How has it reshaped her legacy? The answers may shock even the most loyal royal watchers. The truth behind the love triangle. The love triangle between Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker Bowles remains one of the most talked about scandals in modern royal history. What seemed like a fairy tale romance between Charles and Diana quickly unraveled, revealing deep emotional conflicts and a hidden connection that would forever change the course of the British monarchy. At the heart of this story lies a complicated relationship between three individuals, each navigating their own desires, struggles, and the crushing weight of royal expectations. Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles first met in the early 1970s, long before Diana entered the picture. The two shared an intense bond, but their romance was cut short when Charles left for military service, and Camilla eventually married Andrew Parker Bowles. Despite this, Charles and Camilla remained close friends, and their connection persisted even after Charles married Diana in 1981. For Diana, who entered the marriage with hopes of a loving partnership, Camilla's lingering presence cast a long shadow over their relationship. From the start, Diana suspected that Camilla was more than just an old friend to Charles. Her suspicions were confirmed when she discovered a bracelet Charles had commissioned for Camilla just before their wedding. According to Diana, this discovery was devastating and nearly led her to call off the marriage. Despite her doubts, Diana went through with the wedding, only to find herself competing with a woman who had already captured her husband's heart. The tension between Diana and Camilla came to a head in 1989 when Diana confronted Camilla at a party. In a rare moment of courage, Diana directly addressed the affair, telling Camilla, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that." Camilla reportedly denied any wrongdoing, but Diana later described the confrontation as one of the bravest moments of her life. As the affair became public knowledge, it led to a media frenzy that tarnished the reputation of all involved. Diana famously declared in her 1995 interview, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This simple yet powerful statement encapsulated the heartbreak and betrayal she endured. Ultimately, the love triangle left all three individuals deeply scarred, with its impact still felt in the royal family today. Camilla's role in the infidelity scandal that rocked the royals. Camilla Parker Bowles has long been a central figure in one of the most explosive scandals in royal history. Her relationship with Prince Charles, which started before his marriage to Princess Diana, became the catalyst for one of the most publicized love triangles of all time. What began as a private affair between two people spiraled into a full-blown scandal that forever changed the way the world viewed the British royal family. Charles and Camilla first met in the early 1970s and quickly formed a close bond. However, their romance didn't last, as Charles left for military service and Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles. Despite her marriage, Camilla remained a significant part of Charles's life, even after he married Diana in 1981. Diana soon realized that Camilla was more than just a friend to Charles. Her suspicions were confirmed when she found a bracelet Charles had made for Camilla just before their wedding. This discovery deeply hurt Diana and planted the seeds of distrust that would later grow into full-blown marital discord. Camilla's presence loomed over Charles and Diana's marriage, and the tension reached its peak in 1989 when Diana confronted Camilla at a party. Diana directly accused Camilla of her affair with Charles, saying, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that." Although Camilla reportedly denied any wrongdoing, the confrontation marked a turning point in the already strained relationship between Diana and Charles. The affair became public knowledge in the early 1990s when intimate phone conversations between Charles and Camilla were leaked to the press. Dubbed Camillagate, the scandal rocked the monarchy and confirmed years of rumors about their relationship. Charles later admitted to the affair during a 1994 television interview, stating that it began only after his marriage to Diana had irretrievably broken down. Camilla faced intense public backlash for her role in the affair, with many blaming her for the collapse of Charles and Diana's marriage. She was labeled a homewrecker and became one of the most vilified figures in Britain. Despite this, her relationship with Charles endured, and the two eventually married in 2005, years after Diana's tragic death. Queen Camilla admits the role she played in the downfall of Charles and Diana's marriage. For years, Camilla Parker Bowles has been at the center of one of the most dramatic chapters in royal history. Her relationship with Prince Charles, which began before his marriage to Princess Diana, was a key factor in the eventual breakdown of what was once seen as a fairy tale royal marriage. Now, Queen Camilla, at 75, has reportedly acknowledged her role in the events that led to the collapse of Charles and Diana's union, reflecting on a past filled with love, betrayal, and regret. Camilla first met Prince Charles in the early 1970s, and their bond was instant. However, their romance was cut short when Charles left for military service and Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles. Even after her marriage, Camilla remained a close confidant of Charles, and their connection never truly ended. When Charles married Diana in 1981, Camilla's presence in his life became a source of tension for the young princess. Diana quickly noticed that Camilla was not just an old friend as Charles had described. One of the most telling moments of this love triangle came when Diana discovered a bracelet that Charles had commissioned for Camilla shortly before his wedding. This discovery devastated Diana, who later admitted that she had serious doubts about marrying Charles but felt it was too late to back out. The tension only grew as Diana realized she was competing for her husband's attention with a woman he had loved long before she came into his life. The affair between Charles and Camilla became public knowledge in the early 1990s after intimate phone conversations between the two were leaked. The scandal, dubbed Camillagate, shocked the nation and confirmed the rumors that had surrounded their relationship for years. Charles eventually admitted to the affair in a 1994 television interview, stating that it began after his marriage to Diana had irretrievably broken down. Camilla faced intense public backlash, with many blaming her for the collapse of Charles and Diana's marriage. She was labeled a homewrecker and endured years of criticism. However, despite the controversy, her relationship with Charles endured, and the two eventually married in 2005, years after Diana's tragic death. Now, as Queen Camilla, she reportedly reflects on her role in the events that tore apart Charles and Diana's marriage. While she has earned a more favorable public image in recent years, this chapter of her life remains one of the most controversial in royal history, forever intertwined with the legacy of Princess Diana. How the public blame and media scrutiny changed Camilla forever. Camilla Parker Bowles has lived much of her life under the harsh glare of public and media judgment. Her relationship with Prince Charles, particularly during his marriage to Princess Diana, placed her at the center of one of the biggest scandals in royal history. The blame, criticism, and relentless media scrutiny that followed changed Camilla forever, reshaping both her personal life and her role within the royal family. When news of Charles and Camilla's affair first surfaced, the public reaction was brutal. Camilla was labeled a homewrecker and became one of the most hated women in Britain. The media painted her as the villain in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, and she faced widespread backlash. Tabloid headlines mocked her appearance, while crowds booed her in public. For years, Camilla endured intense hatred, with many fans of Diana refusing to forgive her for her role in the marital affair. The infamous Camillagate scandal in 1993, when private phone calls between Charles and Camilla were leaked, only added fuel to the fire. The intimate and embarrassing details of their conversations were splashed across newspapers and discussed on television worldwide. Camilla's reputation hit rock bottom, and the humiliation she endured was unimaginable. She retreated from public life, rarely making appearances and remaining a private figure for years. However, the media scrutiny and public blame didn't just affect Camilla's reputation. They impacted her on a deeply personal level. Friends and close associates have said she became more guarded and cautious, learning to live with constant judgment. She developed a thick skin to survive the endless criticism, but it came at a cost. Camilla often stayed out of the spotlight, avoiding situations where she might face public attacks or media harassment. Over time, Camilla worked to rebuild her public image, though it wasn't easy. She stayed by Charles's side and focused on supporting him, eventually earning a more positive reputation through her charitable work and down-to-earth personality. Slowly, the public began to see her in a different light. By the time she and Charles married in 2005, the hatred had softened, although she still faced lingering resentment from some Diana supporters. The years of blame and media scrutiny left a lasting mark on Camilla. They forced her to grow stronger and more resilient. Today, as Queen Consort, Camilla has found a way to rise above the judgment and criticism, but the shadow of those difficult years will always remain a part of her story. The untold story of Diana's confrontation with Camilla, one of the most dramatic and emotional moments in the love triangle between Princess Diana, Prince Charles, and Camilla Parker Bowles, happened in 1989. Diana, known for her grace and poise, stepped out of her comfort zone and confronted Camilla directly about her affair with Charles. This confrontation, rarely discussed in detail, became a pivotal moment in Diana's life and revealed the pain and courage she carried as she navigated her troubled marriage. The confrontation took place at a birthday party for Camilla's sister, Annabelle Elliott. Diana, who had long suspected the depth of Charles and Camilla's relationship, decided it was time to address the issue head-on. Despite feeling out of place and nervous about what might happen, Diana gathered her courage and approached Camilla in what would become one of the boldest moments of her life. In her own words, Diana later described how she found Camilla in the basement of the party, sitting with a few others. Diana asked to speak with her privately, and the two women stepped aside. Diana told Camilla, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that." Camilla, visibly taken aback, reportedly denied everything at first, but eventually responded with a chilling comment. "You've got everything you ever wanted. You've got all the men in the world falling in love with you, and you've got two beautiful children. What more do you want?" Diana's reply was simple but powerful. "I want my husband." This confrontation was a turning point for Diana. While it didn't stop the affair, it was a moment of personal strength for her. For years, Diana had suffered in silence, feeling isolated and betrayed in her marriage. Confronting Camilla gave her a sense of agency and allowed her to express the pain she had been carrying. The aftermath of this event didn't bring resolution. Charles and Camilla's relationship continued, and Diana's marriage to Charles grew even more strained. However, Diana's bravery in confronting the woman she believed had stolen her husband's love became a defining moment in her story. This untold story highlights Diana's resilience and her willingness to fight for her dignity, even in the face of betrayal. it remains a powerful reminder of the human emotions behind the royal drama that captivated the world. From the shadows to the throne, Camilla's journey to becoming queen. Camilla Parker Bowles' journey to becoming queen consort is a story of resilience, love, and one of the most remarkable transformations in royal history. From being the other woman in one of the most controversial love triangles to becoming a respected member of the royal family, Camilla's path to the throne was anything but easy. Her rise is a testament to how perseverance and dedication can change even the harshest opinions. Camilla first met Prince Charles in the early 1970s, and their connection was immediate. However, their romance was interrupted when Charles went off for military service, and Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles. Despite her marriage, her bond with Charles remained strong, eventually rekindling into a full-blown affair during his marriage to Princess Diana. This affair, once hidden, became public knowledge in the 1990s, causing a massive scandal that rocked the royal family. For years, Camilla was vilified by the media and the public, often seen as the reason for the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. She was labeled a homewrecker, and her reputation hit rock bottom during the infamous Camilla-gate scandal, where intimate phone conversations between her and Charles were leaked. For a time, Camilla stayed out of the public eye, living a quiet life away from the relentless media scrutiny. However, Charles never wavered in his support for Camilla, and their relationship endured despite the backlash. Slowly, Camilla began to re-enter public life, focusing on charitable work and supporting Charles in his royal duties. Over time, the public began to see Camilla in a different light. Her down-to-earth personality, genuine warmth, and dedication to causes like domestic violence prevention and literacy helped rehabilitate her image. In 2005, Charles and Camilla finally married, marking a turning point in her journey. While she did not immediately take on the title of Princess of Wales out of respect for Diana's legacy, she gradually earned acceptance within the royal family and among the public. Her steady support for Charles and her commitment to royal duties helped solidify her place in the monarchy. When Queen Elizabeth II announced in 2022 that Camilla would one day be known as Queen Consort, it was seen as a final stamp of approval for her transformation. From the shadows of scandal to the throne, Camilla's journey is a remarkable story of overcoming adversity and finding redemption. Today, as Queen Consort, she stands as a symbol of resilience, proving that even the most challenging paths can lead to triumph. Queen Camilla finally acknowledges the pain Diana endured. For decades, Camilla Parker Bowles remained silent about the pain and chaos caused by her relationship with Prince Charles during his marriage to Princess Diana. The love triangle between the three was one of the biggest royal scandals in history, leaving Diana heartbroken and the public furious. Now, as Queen Consort, Camilla has finally acknowledged the pain Diana endured, reflecting on the difficult truths of the past and the impact of her actions. Diana's marriage to Charles was anything but the fairy tale it appeared to be. Behind the public smiles and glamorous events, Diana faced immense loneliness and betrayal. From the beginning, she suspected that Charles's heart belonged to someone else, Camilla. Diana famously confided in her friends about finding a bracelet Charles had made for Camilla before their wedding, a discovery that shattered her trust and nearly led her to call off the marriage. Throughout the marriage, Diana's suspicions about Camilla's ongoing involvement with Charles were confirmed. In a brave moment during a party in 1989, Diana confronted Camilla directly, telling her, "I know what's going on between you and Charles." Camilla's response, dismissing Diana's concerns, only deepened the princess's heartbreak. Later, Diana described the confrontation as one of the hardest, yet most liberating moments of her life. The public, deeply invested in Diana's story, was outraged when Charles's affair with Camilla became public knowledge in the 1990s. Diana's famous words, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," during her 1995 BBC interview, exposed the betrayal and emotional toll the affair had taken on her. Camilla became the target of public hatred, with many blaming her for the collapse of Charles and Diana's marriage. Now, years later, Queen Camilla has privately acknowledged the suffering Diana endured. While she has not made a public apology, close sources report that she feels remorse for the role she played in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. Camilla's transformation from the most hated woman in Britain to a respected queen consort has been remarkable, but the shadow of the past lingers. By acknowledging Diana's pain, Camilla shows a willingness to confront the mistakes of the past. While time cannot erase the hurt, this recognition may offer a small step toward healing the wounds left by one of the most heartbreaking chapters in royal history. Camilla breaks down over the scandal that haunted the royal family. For years, Camilla Parker Bowles has been a polarizing figure in royal history, often blamed for the heartbreak that Princess Diana endured and the scandal that shook the monarchy. But now, as queen consort, Camilla has opened up about the emotional toll the years of infamy took on her and how the scandal haunted her life. In a rare moment of vulnerability, she reportedly broke down, reflecting on the pain caused to all parties involved and the weight of public hatred she carried for decades. The love triangle between Charles, Diana, and Camilla was one of the most scandalous chapters in the history of the British royal family. For years, Camilla was vilified by the press and the public, being labeled a homewrecker for her role in Charles and Diana's unhappy marriage. The affair between Charles and Camilla became public knowledge in the early 1990s, following the infamous Camillagate scandal, where an intimate phone conversation between the two was leaked. The world was shocked, and the media frenzy was relentless. Meanwhile, Diana's heartbreaking admission that there were 3 of us in this marriage only amplified the public's anger toward Camilla. Camilla retreated from public life during this time, avoiding the spotlight as waves of criticism and judgment poured down on her. Friends close to her revealed that the constant media scrutiny and public blame took a heavy toll on her mental and emotional well-being. At the height of the scandal, Camilla found herself isolated, her reputation in tatters, and unable to defend herself against the onslaught of negative press. Now, years later, Camilla has reportedly reflected on these dark times and expressed deep regret about the hurt caused, not just to Diana, but to everyone involved. Sources close to the queen consort have said that she has acknowledged the pain Diana endured and the suffering it brought to the royal family. In private moments, Camilla is said to have been overcome with emotion, admitting that the scandal haunted her for years and left scars that never truly healed. Camilla's journey from the shadows to the throne has been one of resilience, but it has not been without its challenges. While the public perception of her has softened in recent years, the scandal that once rocked the royal family still lingers in the minds of many. By acknowledging the pain of the past, Camilla shows a willingness to confront her mistakes and the legacy of one of the royal family's most turbulent eras. Diana's legacy. Princess. Diana's legacy is one of compassion, resilience, and an enduring connection with people around the world. Though her life was tragically cut short, her influence remains stronger than ever, transcending her royal title to make her a symbol of kindness, empathy, and positive change. Diana's story is one of heartbreak and triumph, showcasing her ability to rise above personal struggles and leave an indelible mark on both the monarchy and society. Diana's charitable work became the cornerstone of her legacy. She was deeply committed to causes that were often ignored or stigmatized. Her groundbreaking efforts in raising awareness for HIV/AIDS in the 1980s challenged the misconceptions of the time. One of her most iconic moments came when she shook hands with an AIDS patient without gloves, a powerful act that broke down stigma and redefined how the world viewed the disease. Diana's work with landmine victims in Angola was another unforgettable chapter, as she walked through active minefields to bring attention to the devastating impact of landmines on innocent lives. Beyond her humanitarian work, Diana's role as a mother became another vital part of her legacy. She was determined to give her sons, Princes William and Harry, a more normal and loving upbringing than what royal tradition dictated. From taking them to amusement parks to teaching them about life outside the palace walls, Diana ensured they understood the struggles of ordinary people. Her influence on her sons is evident today, as both William and Harry continue her charitable work and emphasize mental health awareness and compassion in their royal and public lives. Diana's impact on the monarchy was equally profound. She humanized the royal family, bringing warmth and relatability to an institution often seen as distant. Her openness about her struggles, including her battles with mental health, and the difficulties in her marriage to Prince Charles made her a relatable figure to millions. Diana's honesty paved the way for greater transparency within the royal family, helping the monarchy evolve in a changing world. Even decades after her death, Diana's legacy endures. Her name is associated with kindness, empathy, and strength. She is remembered not just as a princess, but as the people's princess, beloved by those she touched with her compassion and her unwavering dedication to making the world a better place. At 75, Queen Camilla reflects on her journey and controversial past. At 75, Queen Camilla has lived a life unlike any other, one filled with love, scandal, and redemption. Her journey from being a private citizen to becoming queen consort was anything but smooth. She has weathered years of public backlash, media scrutiny, and personal challenges. Now, as a senior figure in the monarchy, Camilla reflects on her controversial past and the lessons she has learned along the way. Camilla's story begins long before she entered the royal spotlight. In the early 1970s, she met Prince Charles, and the two quickly formed a deep connection. However, their romance was interrupted when Charles left for military service, and Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles. Despite her marriage, her bond with Charles remained strong, ultimately reigniting into an affair during his marriage to Princess Diana. When news of their affair became public in the 1990s, Camilla faced intense criticism. She was vilified as the other woman and blamed for the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. The media painted her as a villain, and the public was relentless in their judgment. For years, Camilla avoided the spotlight, retreating to private life as the scandal unfolded. In her later years, however, Camilla has worked to rebuild her image. She focused on supporting Charles and engaging in charitable work, championing causes such as literacy, domestic violence prevention, and animal welfare. Over time, her dedication to these causes and her steady presence beside Charles helped soften public opinion. Now, decades later, Queen Camilla reflects on the choices that shaped her life. Sources close to her say she acknowledges the pain caused by her relationship with Charles during his marriage to Diana. While she remains private about her emotions, those who know her describe a woman who has carried the weight of her past with quiet strength and humility. As queen consort, Camilla has embraced her role with grace, earning respect for her dedication to the crown and her ability to rise above years of criticism. Her journey is a testament to resilience and growth, proving that even the most controversial figures can find redemption. At 75, Queen Camilla stands as a symbol of perseverance, reflecting on a life that has been as challenging as it has been extraordinary.
I'd just like to say that Carol and I are absolutely delighted by today's announcement and thrilled at the prospect of a wedding sometime next year.
Carol Middleton and her husband Michael always looked like the perfect couple. They were together for a long time, smiling at events, standing quietly behind their daughter Kate as she married into the royal family. Everything seemed calm, happy, and normal. But now, something big has changed. Carol and Michael are no longer together. They've ended their marriage. At first, no one noticed. They stayed quiet, kept smiling in public, and didn't say a word. But behind closed doors, things weren't so perfect. Something was going wrong for a long time, and now the truth is starting to come out. And it's not just a small reason. They didn't break up over something silly. It's actually really sad, and it says a lot about the pressure they've been under. Being connected to royalty isn't always a fairy tale. There are heavy expectations, lots of attention, and people always watching your every move. Carol had to carry a lot of weight on her shoulders, not just for herself, but for her whole family. Somewhere along the way, things started to fall apart. This story isn't just about two people splitting up. It's about what really happens behind the scenes, when the cameras are off and the pressure doesn't stop. And now, the reason for their divorce is finally coming to light, and it's worse than anyone thought. Carol and Michael Middleton's early romance, marriage in 1980. Carol and Michael Middleton's story began like many others. Two people meeting, falling in love, and building a life together. Michael, a former airline pilot, and Carol, who worked as a stewardess, crossed paths during the early 1970s. The couple was not born into royalty or wealth, but they found a connection in one another. Their relationship quickly grew, and by 1980, they were married. It was a modest wedding, but the start of a union that would eventually be closely tied to the British royal family. Michael and Carol were not high-profile people at the time, but they shared an ambition to work hard and build something together. Both were from ordinary backgrounds, and this helped them stay grounded. The couple's story became part of the fairy tale of ordinary people making it big, with a twist that would later turn their family into a major figure in the public eye. In the years following their marriage, Carol and Michael launched Party Pieces, a mail-order party supply business that would become their family's main source of income. What started as a small idea blossomed into a nationwide enterprise, helping the family move from modest means to becoming well-known figures in business circles. Carol worked tirelessly alongside Michael, and their company's success was built on their determination, creativity, and the ability to tap into a growing market of families looking to celebrate birthdays and other special occasions in style. Their children, Catherine, Kate, Pippa, and James, grew up surrounded by the hustle of a growing business. Carol and Michael did everything they could to support their children's dreams. They sent Kate to St. Andrews University, where she would later meet Prince William, and made sure their children were given opportunities they never had. As the Middleton children's success grew, so did their parents' reputation. Carol became known for her dedication to her family and business, while Michael's quiet, reserved nature earned him the role of supportive patriarch. The public viewed the Middletons as a stable, loving, and incredibly supportive family. There was something deeply charming about how the family worked together to build success, and they quickly became media darlings. When Kate's relationship with Prince William blossomed into a marriage in 2011, the Middleton family's ties to the royal family made them even more of a focus in the media. Their business success, balanced with their family's public appearances, made them appear like the picture-perfect family. To the outside world, the Middletons represented the ideal family. Carol and Michael were always seen as loving, devoted parents. Their children, especially Kate, were incredibly successful and admired for their poise and grace, traits that seemed to come directly from their upbringing. The family appeared to be deeply involved in each other's lives, always showing up for each other at important events, even after Kate married into the royal family. The Middletons quickly became the kind of family that people looked up to. They weren't aristocrats or celebrities, but their story of hard work, success, and love for each other resonated with the public. With Kate becoming a prominent member of the royal family, the Middletons' close-knit dynamic only became more appealing. They represented something relatable, something that everyone could understand, a family that had grown from humble beginnings to achieving great things together. This image of harmony and unity was something that Carol and Michael proudly showcased, and it became a key part of their public image. Carol and Michael Middleton made many public appearances together, whether at family gatherings, vacations, or events involving Kate, Pippa, and James. They always came across as incredibly united. The family seemed to make an effort to be present at important moments, which only served to further solidify the idea of them being a strong, cohesive unit. Joint vacations were often shared with the public through photos, and each snapshot added to the narrative that the Middletons were a model of family values. From trips to the countryside to public celebrations, their moments together painted a picture of harmony. These public outings, often captured by the press, helped shape the perception of a family that was supportive, grounded, and unbreakably strong. Little did anyone know, behind the smiles and cheerful appearances, cracks were beginning to form. The business troubles. Carol and Michael's business, Party Pieces, had once been the epitome of success. They were the go-to company for party supplies in the UK, and their business allowed them to live a comfortable, prosperous life. But as the years went on, the business started to face difficulties. The market for party supplies changed, online retail boomed, and Party Pieces struggled to keep up with the evolving demands. By 2023, after decades of success, the company had collapsed. The collapse of Party Pieces wasn't just a financial blow, it was deeply personal. For Carol, who had poured so much of her energy and passion into the business, it was a painful reminder of how quickly things could change. What had once been a symbol of the Middleton family's success and hard work now represented failure and hardship. As the business struggled, reports began to emerge about mounting debts. Suppliers were allegedly left unpaid, and financial mismanagement seemed to have played a part in the company's downfall. These issues were kept largely under wraps at first, but as more details came to light, it was clear that Party Pieces was in serious financial trouble. The public's perception of the Middletons shifted. No longer were they seen as the ultimate success story. They were now facing financial ruin. The Middletons had always been open about their work ethic and their commitment to their family, but the mounting debts revealed a different side to their lives. The collapse of Party Pieces wasn't just about business failure. It was about the emotional strain it placed on the family. The pressure of keeping up appearances while struggling to maintain the business was undoubtedly taking its toll. As the financial strain grew, reports surfaced that Michael Middleton had detached himself from the business earlier than Carol. Some sources claimed that Michael had taken a step back from the day-to-day running of Party Pieces, leaving Carol to deal with the pressures on her own. This only added to the speculation that the couple's marriage was beginning to show signs of strain. Michael's decision to step back may have been an attempt to protect his family from the stress of the business, but it was seen by some as him abandoning Carol at a time when she needed support the most. As the financial troubles deepened, it was clear that the divide between Carol and Michael was becoming more pronounced. Despite Michael's alleged detachment, Carol remained heavily involved in the company's decision-making. Reports suggested that Carol continued to push forward with plans, attempting to save the business from its downward spiral. Her resilience and determination were admirable, but they also placed a huge emotional burden on her. The stress of trying to save Party Pieces while managing her personal life became overwhelming. This was not just a business failing, it was a personal one. The collapse of Party Pieces signified much more than a financial setback. It marked the beginning of a challenging chapter in the Middleton family's life. Impact on marriage. Financial stress as a common relationship. Strain. Financial stress is a common strain on marriages, and it's not hard to see how the troubles at Party Pieces could have affected Carol and Michael's relationship. The weight of mounting debts, failed business plans, and the emotional toll of trying to keep everything together likely caused tensions between the couple. What was once a supportive, united front began to crack under the pressure. The couple's private lives, once a symbol of unity, were now becoming more public and vulnerable. The stress of the business likely contributed to their growing emotional distance, leaving Carol to face many of the challenges alone. As the business failed, the media began to speculate about the state of Carol and Michael's marriage. Tabloids quickly spun the story as one of personal conflict, a marriage on the rocks, unable to survive the financial strain. Every joint appearance, or lack thereof, was dissected, with the press often jumping to conclusions about the couple's relationship. The once strong family image began to crack under the weight of the rumors. The divorce rumors. It wasn't long before whispers about a potential divorce began circulating. The first signs came in the form of tabloid reports and anonymous sources hinting at growing tensions between Carol and Michael. Rumors were initially dismissed as speculation, but they began to grow louder over time. The absence of Michael in public events, especially after the Party Pieces collapse, fueled these rumors even further. Social media played a huge role in spreading the divorce gossip. Fans of the Middleton family started to notice the couple's increasing distance from one another and began discussing it online. What had once been a united front now seemed fractured. The press quickly picked up on these stories, pushing the idea of a split. If you want to stay updated on stories like this, ones that reveal what's really going on behind closed doors, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.
Refer to your brother as your beloved brother and arch nemesis. Strong words.
There has always been this competition between us, weirdly.
Time, Prince Harry has kept a big secret. It's not about the crown or all the attention they get from the press. No, this secret is much closer to home. It's about his brother, Prince William, and why Harry felt he had to protect him from the world. Imagine growing up with someone so close to you, but having to keep things hidden from everyone. That's what Harry did for years. He didn't talk about his brother's struggles, the things they went through together, or the difficult moments they shared. But now, Harry is finally ready to tell the story. It wasn't just about being loyal to his family. It wasn't just about protecting his brother from the spotlight. There was something much deeper going on, something that no one really understood. And the truth behind it? It's going to make you see the royal family in a whole new light. Harry's ready to share the hidden side of his life, and it's far from what the world expected. This isn't just about two brothers. It's about everything that has stayed out of view for all these years. And now, the truth is coming out, revealing the kind of pressure and pain Harry faced to protect his family. Harry's claims about keeping his brother a secret prince. Harry's memoir, Spare, has been the center of intense media attention since its release. In the book, Harry opens up about his life in the royal family, his relationship with his brother William, and the emotional struggles he faced growing up in the spotlight. One of the most striking revelations is Harry's claim that he had to keep his brother a secret. But what exactly did Harry mean by this? And why would he feel the need to do so? Harry's comments about keeping his brother a secret go beyond just maintaining privacy. They reveal a complex dynamic between the brothers, one that was shaped by both family loyalty and the constant pressure of royal life. To understand why Harry would say such a thing, we need to dive deeper into his memoir and explore what led him to feel the need to protect his brother, William, in this way. In Spare, Harry doesn't hold back on his feelings and the experiences he faced throughout his life as a royal. He talks about the expectations placed on him from an early age, especially as the younger brother to Prince William, who was destined to become the King of England. This dynamic meant that Harry often found himself in a supporting role, always second in line. One of the most striking parts of the book is when Harry describes how, despite their shared experiences and upbringing, he and William's relationship became strained. Harry reveals that, at certain points in their lives, he had to keep his brother a secret. So, what did Harry mean by this? Did he literally hide aspects of their relationship, or was it a metaphor for the way their relationship was managed under the watchful eyes of the public and the media? Harry's comments about keeping certain things about William a secret. When Harry says that he had to keep his brother a secret, he isn't implying that he physically hid William or kept their relationship under wraps. Instead, Harry reflects on the many ways he had to protect his brother's image. As a royal, there were constant pressures to maintain an idealized public image, one that portrayed unity, loyalty, and strength. Harry explains that part of this meant shielding William from any personal struggles or tensions within the royal family. Harry writes in his memoir about how he sometimes found himself acting as though everything was fine when, in reality, he was struggling with the way his relationship with William was evolving. He had to keep up appearances, not just for the public, but also for his family. If there were issues or tensions between them, they were never discussed openly. Instead, Harry had to keep those moments to himself, maintaining the facade of a close, united family. This notion of keeping things secret isn't about hiding things maliciously, but more about managing the image of the family to meet royal expectations. It's as if Harry was forced to play a role, not just for his own benefit, but for his brothers too. By doing so, Harry protected William from scrutiny, even if it meant hiding his own feelings of isolation and frustration. At the heart of this claim is the question: was Harry keeping his brother a secret because he wanted to protect William's privacy? Or was it more about preserving the royal family's image? To answer this, we need to look at both possibilities. On one hand, Harry could have been trying to protect William's privacy. The royal family, despite their public lives, also deserve moments of personal space. As the future king, William had a lot of pressure on him. Harry, in his book, mentions how William was often caught between his duty to the crown and his personal desires. By keeping certain things about William's life a secret, Harry could have been shielding him from the constant scrutiny of the public eye. On the other hand, there is also the possibility that Harry's motivation was to maintain the image of a perfect, unified family. Royals, especially in Harry and William's generation, were expected to show no weakness. They were expected to be role models and symbols of stability. If Harry revealed any cracks in their relationship, it might have caused a public uproar, leading to negative press and damaging the royal family's reputation. In this sense, Harry might have felt the pressure not just to protect his brother, but to maintain the royal image that the world expected. Analysis of the secret. So, why would Harry feel the need to keep his brother a secret? Was it out of loyalty, Or was it because of the intense pressure placed on him by the royal family and the media? Loyalty seems like a key reason. Harry, despite their differences, has always shown deep love and loyalty to his brother. Even when their relationship became strained, Harry wanted to protect William from being exposed to the same media scrutiny that Harry himself had faced throughout his life. It seems that Harry tried to shield William from the harsh realities of being in the royal spotlight. However, there is another layer to consider: the overwhelming pressure of royal life. Harry often writes in Spare about how difficult it was to live under the constant gaze of the public eye. Everything the royal family did, from their personal relationships to their public appearances, was analyzed and critiqued. Harry was no stranger to this pressure and felt it acutely. The decision to keep his brother a secret may have been Harry's way of coping with that pressure. By keeping quiet and maintaining a sense of control over their private lives, Harry could avoid adding fuel to the fire of public speculation. Harry's emotional state during the time he wrote Spare is important to consider. His decision to reveal so much about his life and his relationship with William speaks volumes about his own struggles with his mental health. Throughout the memoir, Harry opens up about his deep emotional pain, the loss of his mother, and the ways the royal family's expectations affected him. Harry's emotional struggles. Harry's emotional struggles are at the core of why he decided to write this book and open up about his life. Growing up in the royal family was not as glamorous as it seemed from the outside. Harry talks about how he often felt overshadowed by his brother and how the media relentlessly compared them. The weight of these expectations, coupled with the tragic loss of his mother, left Harry feeling alone and misunderstood. In Spare, Harry describes how he internalized much of this pain, never feeling like he could fully express his true emotions. He was expected to live a life of duty and service, which meant pushing aside personal feelings. The pressure to maintain this perfect image for the public, while constantly hiding his own struggles, took an emotional toll on him. Keeping secrets can have a profound emotional impact, especially when it involves close family relationships. For Harry, maintaining a facade of harmony with William, while privately dealing with tension, was emotionally exhausting. It meant suppressing his true feelings and constantly pretending that everything was fine, even when it wasn't. By hiding his true emotions, Harry was essentially burying his pain. This is often seen in people who live under constant pressure or in high-stress environments. The toll it takes on mental health can be overwhelming. In Harry's case, it likely led to feelings of isolation, frustration, and a sense of being trapped in a role that he didn't choose for himself. The tension of loyalty versus self-expression. Another major theme in Spare is the internal struggle between loyalty to his family and his need for self-expression. Harry was caught between two worlds, one where he was expected to be loyal to his family and uphold the royal tradition, and the other where he felt the need to speak his truth and be heard. This struggle created a deep emotional conflict. On one hand, Harry was loyal to his brother and the royal family. On the other, he was longing for freedom from the constraints of his royal role. The more he tried to protect his family's image, the more he felt like he was suffocating. This tension is a key reason why he ultimately decided to write Spare, to finally express himself and reveal what had been hidden for so long. The hidden truth behind Prince Harry's silence changes the way we see the royal family forever. What seemed like a story of fame and privilege holds darker, deeper secrets. As Harry steps forward with his side of the story, it's clear: the royals have far more to hide than we ever imagined. If you want to know more about the secrets of the royal family and stay updated on all the latest revelations, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any new stories. You won't want to miss what's coming next.